Now look, I know that sounds rude and I hate to be the bearer of bad news because I'd love to help as many people as possible get in elite shape, but to keep it realistic, with the world that we live in today, if you're more than 30 or 40 pounds overweight as a grown man, you're kind of doomed unless you fix it, but I'm going to show you how you can. And look, I'm not saying any of this to come across as insensitive or be an asshole. This is actually coming from a place of compassion and wanting to help, because as men in this hyper-competitive day and age, we already have it hard enough. We already have enough of our own stressors. The stress to get ahead financially, the stress to look good on social media, the dating culture is a mess, the stress to become a high-value, respected man in general, it's already hard enough. So why would you want to hold yourself back mentally and physically by being fat, sloppy, and unfit? My name's Garrison Sakis. I've been a certified personal trainer and online fitness coach for high-achieving men, generally in the 6, 7, or 8-figure-a-year range for the better part of a decade, and I've helped hundreds of men not only transform their physique, but their confidence, their relationships, self-respect, and as a byproduct, their income as well, by taking their health and fitness seriously and dialing everything in. Your physique, it's a direct reflection of your internal state, your self-respect, and your priorities as a person. Being in kick-ass shape creates a level of unshakable confidence that no materialism will ever compare to because it can't be bought, it's only earned, but this isn't all about the appearance or the vanity behind it. Pretty much everyone on earth benefits from having someone further along than them on their journey to help them, stay in their corner, hold their feet to the fire. Everyone benefits from coaching in some capacity, but in this context, if you're trying to get in shape and you haven't taken the action for it, everything's out there information-wise. You could find a meal plan, you could find a training plan. If you're not taking the necessary steps to get where you want to go, you're simply showing that you don't value this, it's not a priority, and you don't care for yourself enough to put yourself first and commit to the process of something that you know is going to serve you down the line, but you probably don't want to do. So, rant aside, you're probably asking yourself, well, how do I even fix this shit, Garrison? Well, I gotcha. If you're someone who hasn't prioritized their health in a long time, or maybe ever, the longer you're out of the game, this shit gets overwhelming and very daunting, so I get that. Seems like you don't even know where to start, so let me just make it simple for you. Before I get into the formula for fixing this, I want to preface it by saying you don't have to be super regimented, you don't have to be super militant or anything like that. We're not chasing perfection here unless you're a physique competitor. If you're someone who just wants to get in better shape and improve their habits and behaviors, you're already so far off the wagon that if we get you 80% right, you're going to make some insane progress, so don't worry about you being super dialed, tracking every gram, every calorie. I don't want you to feel like that's 100% necessary. Again, the more you're tracking your intake and the more on top of things you are, the faster your result's going to be and the more consistent your progress is going to be. But that doesn't mean that you can't make progress by just being better than you were yesterday. That's the goal here. We're chasing progress, not perfection. The first thing that we need to do to fix our problem of ground zero, depressed, low energy, unconfident fat ass, we have to set some proper non-negotiable habits and set a proper foundation for how we operate to fill our cup, to improve our energy, our mood, our confidence, and our health. I know this is daunting, and in reality, we don't really have to add much to our daily habits or routines, but we do have to remove some things that are withholding us from taking those steps in the right direction to actually reaching those goals and bettering ourselves as individuals. Right. Yapping aside, let's get into the actual formula that's going to take you from wherever you are now at ground zero, fat ass, and take you to absolute Chad. No more depression, no more anxiety, just pure confidence in your own capacity and who you are as an individual to help you level up in every aspect. Like it or not, this comes with action and activity. In this context, we're never going to outthink or outwill our way out of a body that we don't like. That all comes through direct action and activity, which again carries over to everything else that you do in life, but this is no exception. This first step here starts with some form of daily activity. This doesn't mean you have to do resistance training or work out every day, but we should be getting at least a bare minimum of 7 to 10K steps a day. Most of us are so damn sedentary that we don't even get like 2 to 3K steps a day, which is barely a mile over the course of an entire day walked. And you wonder why you feel like shit, you claim your metabolism's wrecked. It's because you're getting basically zero activity. You're just sitting all day, eating like shit, feeling like shit, and feeding negative behaviors. All right, we want to fix that right off the bat. And the first step that we can take to go ahead and remedy this is through consistent step count and daily activity. Number 2, this should be a no-brainer, but you can't be eating fast food or eating out for every meal that you eat and expect to, again, have a good physique, feel good, look good, or respect yourself. It just doesn't work that way. you're going to have to prepare a majority of your own meals. This doesn't mean you can't eat out ever, but if you want an idea of what's going into your mouth and you want to have control over what's happening aesthetically and on the scale, it helps if you prepare your own meals and actually take time to do this once or twice a week to bulk prepare animal proteins and carbohydrate sources so you're not left operating reactively, going and eating out, doing whatever. You actually have your own meals ready to go, so it's not a guessing game, and you have control over what's actually going in your body. Again, not saying you can't enjoy your life, but if you getting in better shape, losing body fat, putting on muscle, feeling better, if any of these are actual goals for you, chances are you need to pull your calories down to where you're in a deficit, up your protein to at least hit 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, and you need to have an idea of what's actually going into your mouth so you have the control over that outcome rather than, again, just guessing and putting a random amount of gas in your car and expecting to get where you want to go on the daily basis. It doesn't work like that. Now, if the goal is fat loss, everyone loves to shit on intermittent fasting, but all it is really just condensing your eating window. So chances are you're going to be getting less calories in if you're not eating over the course of 12 or 14 hours throughout the day. If you cut that down to like a 6-hour eating window and you're making the right whole food, unrefined, unprocessed food choices that are predominantly single ingredient, so animal proteins, fruits, vegetables, quality carb sources, if you're doing that and you're condensing your eating window while still prioritizing protein intake, you're going to fucking crush it. So if you don't have to eat every second of the day, I would recommend intermittent fasting for most people. Go ahead and push that eating window back to where you don't have your first meal till, let's say, 2 p.m., 4 p.m., whatever it is, whatever you can handle throughout the day and aligns with your schedule. If you don't have to eat every second of the day, it's going to make it harder for you to get fat, which is a good thing. Now, I'm not recommending you starve yourself. That's not healthy eating behavior whatsoever. I'm just offering an option that most people love to shit on, but I think is incredibly effective because at the end of the day, fat loss and weight loss does come down to caloric restriction. So if you can work it into your schedule to where you can intentionally reduce the amount of food you're eating for less hours, I mean, it's going to help. If you're someone who has to eat earlier in the day or as soon as they wake up and you need breakfast, I just recommend that you keep it lower calorie, much higher protein, lower carb. Okay, so if it's high protein, you're going to be satiated, meaning you're going to stay full for a longer duration of time. Okay, it's going to help stabilize your energy and your blood glucose levels so you're not going to have that afternoon crash, you're not going to have the brain fog, and you're not going to feel like shit. As well as it's only going to promote your body recomposition goals by, again, allowing us to have more frequent bouts of muscle protein synthesis, MPS. This is going to ensure that we're, again, drawing from the right energy stores and we're continually making progress towards putting on muscle, which is only going to help us with our body recomp. As for our carb intake, we're going to want most of it to be in the peri-workout window. Peri just meaning around. So we're going to want most of our carb intake right before a workout and then also right after a workout when we can most effectively utilize these carbs coming in. Okay, we only use carbs as energy during high intensity exercise. So if we're not working out hard, if we're just on a short walk, if we're sitting around, we don't need carbs as fuel pretty much at all. So let's say you work out in the middle of the day. Your first meal in the day could be higher protein, slightly higher fat, low carb. Okay, fat, slow digestion, but again, as long as it's not too crazy, you're not going to slow it very much. You want higher protein earlier in the day. Okay, for your second meal, your pre-workout meal, it would be very carb heavy, something as a fast digesting carbohydrate source. This could be a rice-based cereal, for example. It could be cream of rice, something to that effect that's going to digest fast and, again, replenish your glycogen stores and give you energy for your workout. Right after a workout, again, we don't want to slow this digestion process down at all, so we want it to be moderate carb, moderate protein, somewhat low fat. Okay, this is going to allow us to, again, keep the muscle protein synthesis bouts going to keep us anabolic throughout the day. Okay, we're going to be replenishing those glycogen stores with the carbohydrate sources, and then we want to keep our fat relatively low so we don't slow that digestion down. Towards the evening, if you're not really doing anything very physically active, it can be higher fat because, again, slowing down digestion at that case doesn't really matter, and we don't want very high carb because we're not going to be using them. So it could be like more of a keto-esque meal or something that's just lower carb where you're not pounding your face with rice and potatoes. All right, the next step to unfatting your ass is you have to be doing some degree of resistance training, ideally at least 3 to 4 times a week. Now, you don't need to be in the gym spending hours in there every day to get pretty much the best outcome, For most guys, unless they're, again, trying to be a physique competitor, I'd recommend 3 times a week full body, and then after you're really comfortable with that, transitioning to 4 times a week upper lower. So it'd be 2 on, 1 off. So it'd be upper lower rest, and then kind of following that format and taking some extra rest days as needed generally on the weekend. So you're training a total of 4 times a week. The goal with this isn't to become the next Mr. Olympia or Hulk, it's just to go ahead and increase our daily activity as well as support our overall metabolism, or BMR, meaning our basal metabolic rate, by just having more lean tissue on us. The more muscle we have, the higher our baseline metabolic rate is, so it's only going to support your fat loss goals by having a higher level of muscle mass. This is going to contribute to you having a better body composition as well. It's also going to help us, again, stave off injury, stave off disease. It's going to improve bone density. I mean, it's also going to help us look great. So, I mean, there's really no downside here. Trying to get into the gym 3 to 4 times a week, focusing on a few compound exercises and some accessories that target all of your muscles as needed for 2 to 3 sets of 6 to 15 reps. Focusing on taking them close to failure and getting stronger at them over the long term, because progressive overload is king. If you're someone who doesn't want to have to think about what exercises they have to do, how often, for how many sets, for how many reps, any of that, you don't want to worry about the programming at all, just click the link in my description and make your own copy of my kick-ass upper-lower training program and enjoy the progress. Just make sure you're focusing on quality execution so your mechanics are on point, you're taking it through a full range of motion, and again, the priority is getting stronger on them week to week, because progressive overload is king. You cannot get better in the gym and continually make progress from a muscle standpoint if you're not focusing on getting stronger over the long term. I don't want to come across as your dad or anything like that. I'm not here to be a parent. We all know this. But you're not going to support your muscle growth, fat loss, body recomp, or overall health goals if our sleep quality is shit. Just as simple as that. When the duration or quality of your sleep suffers, it immediately jacks your stress hormone, aka cortisol, through the roof. Okay, this not only affects our insulin sensitivity and blood glucose, so basically how effectively we can utilize the carbs coming in, which can have a cascade of negative effects, but again, it also directly reduces our testosterone levels, it impacts our cognition, it makes us feel like shit overall. So we want to avoid that with, again, ideally 7 to 9 hours of high quality sleep in a cool, dark room. Again, no light coming in. We don't want to inhibit melatonin production whatsoever. So ideally under 70 degrees, pitch black room, 7 to 9 hours at a consistent sleep and wake time. That is one of the best things that you can do for your overall health, as well as your overall fat loss and body recomposition goals. Hands down, the biggest needle movers when it comes to you improving your mood, energy, physique, health, any of that, as well as obviously your testosterone, are going to be your nutrition. So whole food-based intake, very high focus on protein, consistent resistance training where you're focusing on getting stronger, and then prioritizing your recovery. So again, making sure you're sleeping those 7 to 9 hours per night, and as well as obviously other things we can do to boost our activity to help us drive ourselves into a deficit are hitting those 7 to 10K steps a day, and potentially doing 3 to 4 times a week of direct, low-intensity, steady-state cardio for like 20 to 30 minutes. This can be, again, a brisk walk, this can be Stairmaster, it can be whatever you like. Not that we like doing cardio at all, but from an overall all-cause mortality risk reduction and heart health outcome, we just can't get away from it. You might as well just do a little bit of damn cardio. As some bonuses, there are some things that you can throw in to go ahead and improve the results of your foundational components like nutrition, exercise, and recovery. Things like glucose disposal agents, aka GDAs, are very, very powerful. My favorite one is berberine with Ceylon cinnamon. I'd recommend taking between 500 milligrams and a gram before and after carb-heavy meals. Again, this is going to help us go ahead and improve our glucose metabolism. So it's going to help us digest the carbs coming in better and actually shuttle them into the muscle cells to store as glycogen, as opposed to leaving them free-floating in the bloodstream, which is going to wreak havoc on our body. Okay, so after you do this, also take a 10 to 15 minute walk after these carb-heavy meals. You're going to drastically improve your insulin sensitivity, improve your digestion, lower your blood pressure, and a host of other positive benefits. Next, everyone's favorite supplement, creatine. I would recommend that pretty much everyone take between 3 and 10 grams of creatine a day. There's basically zero downsides whatsoever. It's amazing for your energy production, helps your performance in the gym, as well as it helps reverse the effects of poor sleep. So you can go ahead and macro dose creatine. Let's say you only get like 4 or 5 hours of sleep. You can take between 20 and 30 grams of creatine, and you can completely negate the down-regulated cognition aspects of poor sleep. So again, you can reverse that brain fog. You can bring yourself back and actually reduce all of that inflammation as well right off the bat. In addition, supplementation-wise, everyone should be taking a high-quality fish oil, getting between 500 milligrams and 2 grams of total EPA and DHA intake per day. I'd also recommend that everyone takes a high-quality D3 supplement between 5,000 and 10,000 IU per day. Ideally, supplementing K2 with this is going to be a benefit as well, generally about 200 micrograms of K2. In addition, even if you eat a lot of meat, I would recommend that most people take a high-quality B complex as well. This is going to help with inflammation, carb metabolism, a host of things, right? B vitamins are basically essential in our overall mood, energy production, and metabolism. In addition, you can throw in things like boron between 5 and 10 milligrams per day to go ahead and reduce SHBG, which is sex hormone binding globulin, which directly reduces your free test levels. So by you introducing boron, it's going to help you sustain higher free test levels in your bloodstream, which is what your body actually uses in terms of testosterone. All right, and lastly, on the supplement side, I would recommend pretty much everyone experiment with methylene blue. It's a bit taboo because it's a clothing dye, but it's seemingly a miracle drug right now that's doing some amazing things for reversing cancer and chronic illness. I'd recommend everyone try between 0.5 and 2 milligrams per kilogram of weight, so you can convert that to pounds. But that's the recommended dose for most people. You can always titrate up or down based on the effect that you want. But it's seemingly amazing at reducing systemic inflammation, so bringing down all of the inflammation in your body, improving cognition, as well as overall energy metabolism. And this is thought in large part because it's improving mitochondrial efficiency, so basically the rate at which your cells can produce energy. And I mean, who doesn't want that? That's basically the fountain of youth. Again, guys, you could technically do all of this on your own. There's nothing stopping you from finding a training program, meal plan, and implementing it on your own. Where most people tend to get the best results is through an accountability partner. Someone like myself who's already much further along on their journey, that's streamlining the process to remove the guesswork, and again, basically allowing them to buy their time back, as well as them having some skin in the game, so they don't just piss the time and money away and can get the best result possible. Okay, you could probably find all of this on your own, but chances are, if you're not in the shape that you want to be already, I mean, how's that going for you so far? I mean, all the information's already been out there for years, so if you haven't directly implemented it and gotten a great result, I mean, chances are you're going to benefit from someone who is already further along and reach the goal that you'd like to reach. So, with that being said, I am opening up a few more coaching slots for some seriously dedicated men who want to get in the best shape of their life and get visible abs inside the span of 16 weeks, or they don't pay. Best case scenario, you get in the best shape of your life, you feel amazing, and you compound every aspect of your life. Worst case scenario, you get a full refund, you don't pay a dime, and you're still equipped with all the knowledge and resources needed for you to go ahead and reach that goal. So, if this sounds at all interesting, click the link in my description, see if you qualify for a call, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the other side. Make sure to like and subscribe on this video, and give me a follow on Instagram at Garrison Sakes, that's GarrisonSakes. If you're someone who's finally ready to step into the highest version of yourself and stop settling for less than your best, and ready to plant your flag in the sand and say enough's enough, I need to change, again, click the link in the description, see if you qualify, and I look forward to talking soon, guys.